Welcome to Beyond the Secret. This is a sequel series to my religious science workshop, but in this series we are going to focus primarily on Neuro Linguistic Programming, or NLP. Because if religious science teaches the spiritual law that mind is creative, NLP teaches you how the mind works and how to direct it with precision. And in NLP, the very first thing we learn is something foundational: outcome and intention, because the mind cannot create what it cannot define. Clarity is power, and manifestation is not a wish, it is an outcome. Many people learned from The Secret that desire is important, and desire is important. But desire alone is not an outcome. Wanting something is not the same as creating it. Most people live in the energy of I want, but they never move into the energy of this is what I am building. NLP begins with the understanding that the mind is like a goal-seeking mechanism, but it requires direction. And the first direction you give it is intention. So what is an outcome? In NLP, an outcome is a clear result you intend to produce. It is not vague. It is not negative. It is not a complaint. An outcome is defined in positive terms. It's specific. It's measurable. And most importantly, it is something your mind can move toward. Because the subconscious mind cannot work with confusion. It works with clarity. And once the mind is given a clear outcome, it begins organizing perception, motivation, and behavior around that result. Here is one of the most important distinctions you can ever make. Wanting implies lack. Wanting means, I don't have it. But intention implies direction. It means, this is where I'm going. And the subconscious mind responds very differently to those two states. Wanting creates emotional longing. But intention creates focus. And focus creates action. And action produces results. So in this Beyond the Secret approach, we begin by shifting from wishing into deciding. One of the classic rules in NLP is that outcomes must be stated positively, because the subconscious mind moves toward mental pictures. If you say, I don't want stress, your mind pictures stress. If you say, I don't want to be broke, your mind pictures being broke. Instead, you define the desired state. I want calm. I want stability. I want confidence. Positive language creates a positive internal picture, and that internal picture builds emotional momentum. That is the beginning of real change. In NLP, the mind is trained through sensory experience, so when you set an outcome, you don't just name it, you define it in sensory terms. What will you see when you achieve it? What will you hear? What will you feel? How will you know it is real? This is important because the subconscious mind doesn't respond strongly to abstract words. It responds to sensory detail. When your outcome becomes vivid, it becomes believable. And when it becomes believable, it becomes achievable. Another core NLP principle is ecology. Ecology means, is this outcome healthy and aligned? Sometimes people set goals that sound good, but subconsciously they resist them because the goal has hidden costs. For example, if you become successful, will you lose time with family? If you become wealthy, will you feel guilt? If you become confident, will you fear rejection? The subconscious mind will not cooperate with an outcome that feels unsafe. So in NLP, we check ecology. True outcomes create wholeness. They improve your life instead of tearing it apart. This is a big one. Many people set outcomes that depend on other people. They say, I want my spouse to change. I want my boss to respect me. I want my children to behave differently. But in NLP, an effective outcome must be within your influence. You may not control others, but you control your communication, your boundaries, your energy, your standards, your mindset, your actions, and once you focus on what you can control, you stop feeling powerless. That is one of the great gifts of NLP. It brings you back into personal authority. Here is a powerful NLP exercise you can do right now. Ask yourself, what do I want? Then ask, what will it give me? And once you answer that, ask, what will I do once I have it? And finally ask, what is the deeper intention? Because often what we think we want is not what we truly want. Someone might say, I want money. But what they really want is freedom. Someone might say, I want a relationship. But what they really want is connection. When you discover the deeper intention, your outcome becomes more powerful. Because you are no longer chasing surface desires, you are aiming at the real target. So in part 1 of this Beyond the Secret NLP series, we've learned the first foundational principle, outcome and intention. Because intention gives direction, clarity creates focus, focus creates results, and manifestation is not random, it is engineered through the structure of the mind. Now in part 2, we're going to move into the next major foundation of NLP, state, because even with the best outcome in the world, if you cannot control your emotional state, you cannot consistently create your desired results. Please subscribe to this channel and connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. The links are provided in the video description below. I'll see you in part 2.